Hey guys, what's up? I'm Jessie, if you're new here, and if you're returning, welcome back. Today, I want to talk to you guys about Skyward by Sanderson. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, followed by a spoilery chat. I am going to give you my pros and my cons, and then we're going to just gush and talk about everything I loved and everything I didn't love. So, Skyward is a young adult sci-fi novel by Sanderson. It's set in a world where people are living underground because they are on this alien planet and aliens attack them from the sky. So everyone lives underground, but the most important people in society are the pilots because they protect the people, they fight the aliens, and they are the most important and honored people in their whole society. Our main character is Spencer, and when she is a young girl, probably about 7, her dad, who's a pilot, gets shot down because he was a coward. Because he ran during the biggest battle of their time, allegedly. Because of this, he was branded a coward, and so was his whole family. So Spencer had to grow up being branded the daughter of a coward. So Spencer's dream is to become a pilot herself and prove everyone wrong. The problem is, the higher-ups, no one wants to see that. Because they believe that since she is the daughter of a coward, she will also be a coward. Somehow she manages, with a lot of help, to get in, but it isn't exactly what she thought it was going to be in flight school. She's in, but she's still not accepted. She comes to find out different things about her society, the good, the bad, what really happened with her father that day. Can we change our fate? What's up in the stars? So, if that sounds interesting to you, definitely pick up Skyward. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing. It was a fast-paced read. I love Sanderson, though I might be a little biased anyway, because I feel like anything that he writes, I'm going to love. So, I mean, I finished this book in 2 days and it's 500 pages. Like, I just could not put it down. Like, I kept needing to know what was going on. As much as I loved it, I think I'm going to start out sharing my cons with you, because even things I love, even 5-star books, have some negative aspects to them. And maybe they're not negative to me. Maybe they're things that I see that would be negative to the majority of people, or that a lot of people won't like. So that's kind of why I'm sharing my cons, because it's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. My first con is the world building. Now, Sanderson is a master world builder, but in Skyward specifically, it felt rushed. It felt like I didn't get enough world building until near the end of the book. Like, I didn't get as much history as I wanted. I didn't get as much backstory as I wanted. But that might also be because it's YA. So you didn't want to, like, info dump. But I wanted more. I wanted more world building. And I think that it's going to happen more in the second book, honestly, because of the way it ended. It seems like we're learning more about the world along with Spencer, so that all happens at the end. So we're probably going to get more world building in book 2. I haven't read that one yet. I plan on picking it up pretty soon. My next con is kind of a funny one. So it's the language used that Sanderson created, really. And there's this one particular word, and it's scud. And it was so overused. And it just kind of made me laugh, because it's supposed to be like a stand-in for, like, 4-letter word we would say. And, like, it's just, it was kind of overused when they're like, this scud and sucks, and this scud this, and scud that. And I'm like, Does anyone really drop the F-bomb that often? And just the way it's used, that's obviously what it was. And like, I don't mind cursing at all. It doesn't bother me. I curse. Sorry. But it was just funny. Like, I just felt like it was overused. And I wasn't a big fan of it. Like, it's not a make or break on the book. I just wasn't the biggest fan of Scud. My final con for this book, which it's not really a full con, is I didn't love Spencer. She kind of annoyed me, but she grew on me. But for about the first half of the book, Spencer was kind of annoying. Like, she was very angry and she was very puff up her chest and very doom and gloom and getting into fights, and just the way she spoke and the way she acted was so frustrating. But then I understand it as well, because of the way she was treated by society kind of made her that way. And maybe I just wanted her character to arc earlier, but she just kind of annoyed me for a little bit there. Which I talk about in my reading vlog. I talk about how she, like, kind of annoyed me at times, but what's she gonna do? She's an angry teenager. Like, she's kind of the antithesis of an angry teenager in space. But now that we've gotten the cons out of the way, I want to talk about my pros, which there's quite a few pros, way more pros than cons, in Skyward. First is the character growth and development. I adored it. Remember I said that I didn't really like Spencer that much? At the end, I loved her. So she made just the biggest change, and she became more self-aware, realizing what she sounded like and how she was acting. And I just really enjoyed her growth in this series. My other pro was the twist. I didn't see it coming. I really, really liked seeing how they brought about some twists that you just don't really see coming. Like, the entire book, I expected one thing, and that thing did not happen. It was the complete opposite. So that I really enjoyed. I like not being able to guess. If there's a twist, I like not being able to guess it. Another pro was I loved the antagonist. I enjoyed the morally gray areas that they explored with the antagonist in this story, with Iron Sights. I kind of grew to see her point, and I love an antagonist that, like, you can either sympathize with or slightly sympathize with, or at least understand, and they're not just like an asshole for being an asshole. Like, they have reasoning behind what they do, and to them it makes sense, and to them they're not being bad, they're doing what they have to do. And I loved that aspect about the antagonist in this story. I also really loved the relationships. The friend dynamics in this book are amazing. So now we're going to jump into our spoilers. So here is your warning. Spoilers ahead for Skyward. Alright, so I did love this book. And yes, Spencer annoyed me for a good chunk of it. But I loved it. And probably my favorite character was Mbot. How could you not love Mbot, the sentient ship that she finds in the caverns, like, and repairs and restores, and he is just hysterical, and he is so close to human, but he likes to remind you that he is still AI, that that's just his programming, that he is not sentient, he does not have actual human emotions, but like, he'll tell you that he's offended and then remind you that he can't be offended because he's a robot. And his obsession with mushrooms cracks me up. His just the fact that he keeps saying, like, he's not a battleship, he's not a warship, but he has all this weaponry. It's just great. And there's a lot of questions that I still have about Mbot. Like, I want to know the corrupted information that's not there anymore. I want to know who his original pilot was, what his original mission was. Like, I need to know these things, and I'm really hoping we get that in book 2, because we don't get it. But when he decided on his own to call Cobb and come and get him to save Spencer and to join the fight, like, that, oh, I loved that part. I loved that he decided to re-rate his programming to make Spencer his pilot, so he had to listen to her. And to me, that's just, it was so good. And he's like the comic relief and like the buddy, and it was just perfect. I adored Murderbot. I also, like I said, I really loved the relationships. And oh, when the girls like snuck Spencer in to their room to like feed her and talk with her and get to know her better, that I adored, because that's the kind of friendship that I feel like Spencer needed at the time. And I feel like that was like somewhere, I feel like that was the beginning of where I started to like Spencer more, where I started to see her change and soften and become the person that thought that her old self was annoying. So I think that part was a turning point. That, and then, you know, right away, not long after, like the death of Hurl, just that broke me. The fact that we even, like, what else is there to say? They killed off one of the major characters in this book that you had like just started to really, really care for, and that Spencer had just started being really good friends with, all because she wouldn't eject. And that's, it was heartbreaking, because it's like she could have survived, but this whole culture of not being a coward took her life. Like, this whole culture of don't be a coward, only cowards eject, and if you eject and you're a coward, it doesn't matter if you survive, because you're not going to be a pilot anymore anyway, because you're a coward. And I don't know how many times they can say coward in this book, but a scudding coward. Like, so it's like this whole culture of we would rather you die than save yourself. Like, die with honor instead of living and being dishonorable and cowardice. And that annoyed me. And the fact that that never really changed throughout the book, like, that is still the culture, even though Spencer ejected. Like, Spencer learned that lesson, that sometimes it's better to live to fight another day than it is to just die in a blaze of glory. But I don't know. I want to know what y'all think. Do you guys think that there will be a budding romance between her and Jerkface? Jorgen. I will still call him Jerkface. I think his nickname is hysterical. But do you think there's going to be like a budding relationship, or do you think it's going to stay friends? Because that hug, I don't know. I'm thinking it might go into relationship territory. But we'll have to see, because I'm not super sure about it. But alright. We've talked about all the things that I loved so far. But that twist. I literally went the entire book really believing that Spencer's dad was framed. That, you know, there was something wrong with Ironsides, that she was framing him for one reason or another. But in reality, it was all because he actually was more. He was worse. He was a traitor. He turned on his own people, and they had to shoot him down. And that was heartbreaking to see Spencer learn. Because her whole life she was told he was a coward, but come to find out he was actually a traitor. And the cover-up wasn't that he was framed, it was to make him look better than he actually was in that particular battle. And that made Ironside's point so valid. While she didn't go about it the right way with like not letting Spencer like eat or sleep in the barracks and spend time with her fellow people, like it made sense though that she would distrust Spencer because her father wasn't a coward. He turned, but he didn't turn knowingly. He turned because he was like mind controlled by the Krell, because he had this connection with them, the defect, and come to find out Spencer does as well. So really Ironsides wasn't wrong. So like it makes me be like, oh wow. Like the antagonists, like I was saying, you just, when you understand them, you might not like their methods, but you understand their reasoning. I feel like that makes for a good antagonist. I wouldn't say that Ironsides was the villain. I would say she's the antagonist. I would say that the villain is the Krell, but are they even really villains? Because we find out that they're just there keeping humanity on this planet because they believe humanity is so dangerous because they lost a war where humanity was trying to like take over the galaxy or something along those lines. So really most of the Krell are just, they're like jail keepers, basically. So all in all, it doesn't seem like anyone is really villainous. There's no big bad. There's no like evil aliens out to destroy the human race. Like it's, everyone has their reasons and their motivations, and no one is completely wrong and no one is completely right. So I really am excited to see where this goes in Starsight. Like I am so excited to pick up the second book in this series. I think the third one doesn't come out until like next year, so I'm debating on when to actually read the second book. But we'll see. And I hope you guys enjoyed this spoiler-free review and chit-chat about Skyward. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!